What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Free to Be, and this week we're going to be talking about another 5 financial missteps that people tend to make early on or just in life in general. So let's get started. Alright, as always, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. We cover financial literacy on this channel as well as lifestyle tips. You're not going to want to miss any other content. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you're joining us again, thanks for coming back. Alright guys, now a few weeks ago I put out a video about 5 financial missteps that people make in their lives. And then I started thinking about, other missteps, other mistakes that people can make that I've made. And I thought I'd bring it to you today in this video. Okay, so the next financial misstep is using your home equity and really using it in an incorrect way. If you've spent time paying down your mortgage and building equity in your house, the last thing you want to do is get a mortgage against that and basically take out a loan, giving away that equity. Really, you're giving the ownership back to somebody else in order to get cash for, things that you might not even really need in life. Because eventually what's going to happen is you're going to end up paying interest on this additional loan you've gotten. And effectively, over the long term, you have now way overpaid for your house. And when you sell your home, at some point, you're not going to get what you really should have been getting out of this home. The equity you build in your house is for you, okay? You got to think of it as your home is your castle. This is yours. This is your property. And you want that money there for you when you do eventually sell your home to go and get another home. So don't just give it away. Don't take out a line of credit against your house. Don't get a mortgage. Don't get any kind of, encumbrance or lien against your home, because ultimately that's going to affect you because you're living off of debt, which we've discussed before on this channel, and you're paying interest on money that you shouldn't really be paying interest on because it's your money. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about this week is living paycheck to paycheck. Now, there was a study done that basically the savings rate in the US is less than 4%. That means millions of people out there are living paycheck to paycheck, which is a financial mistake like no other, because if we were to hit a recession, if something happened in your life where, it was unpreventable, you are going to be in some dire, circumstances if you miss a paycheck. And so you want to avoid that at all costs. You don't want to put yourself in a position of being one of those people that live paycheck to paycheck. And again, on this channel, we've covered this a lot, but there's ways to make sure that you have a savings plan in place, that you are saving accordingly, because you want to have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved, liquid enough where you can access it easily if something was to happen. If it was a rainy day for you, whatever the case may be, and you needed to access some funds quickly, you had 3 to 6 months worth of funds to access. Because again, living paycheck to paycheck is just not a viable way of life. It's just not something you want to be, facing when it comes down to a circumstance that's out of your control. Okay, now the next thing we're going to talk about this week is probably the biggest one of these items that we're going over, these financial missteps. And it really, when I made that other video, which I'll link down below and up above, of the 5 financial missteps, and then I stopped and I was like, wait a second, I forgot to go over this one. And this is probably the biggest one. You guys, we cover this on this channel plenty already, and I'm sure I'll be covering it, in the future as well. But not investing, not putting your money to work for you, is probably the largest financial misstep that you can make in your entire life. Because here's the fact. If your money is not working for you, if your money is not invested in markets or some other income producing, source or mechanism, you're never going to be able to stop working, like ever, right? You're going to be working forever. If your money is just being saved in a low interest bearing account, bringing you 0.5% of interest annually, you'll be working forever. So it's very important to start investing, and start investing young. The younger you are, the better it is, because again, there's factors like compound interest or just time, the ebbs and flows of the markets. These are all things that can work for you. So you have to start investing early, because you don't want to be working forever. That's the whole reason of this channel. That's why I'm bringing you this information, is because none of us really want to be working forever. So it's important to start investing and invest often. And so in doing so, just make sure you're taking advantage of everything available to you, whether it's, pre-tax retirement benefit plans that you might have through work, other types of retirement plans that you could put, or just setting aside money in an investment account. Just look into all the different options, and if that involves, advising with a financial consultant, make sure you do that as well. Okay, and so the next thing is paying off your debt with savings. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, and your thinking is probably this. If I have debt that's at 22% interest, and I have savings that's only generating me 7 to 8% interest, wouldn't it make sense to use that saving to pay off debt and bank the difference? Well, yes, but also no, because you're going to end up in this trap. Now, let me just give you this example. Let's say you do have a retirement account that is producing 8% interest for you, and you do have a credit card of $10,000 at 22% interest. And let's say you take this cash out of this retirement account. Now, when you take this cash out, if you take it out as in the form of a loan to pay off this credit card, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna have a zero balance credit card, but you're also going to be owing this retirement fund of yours the $10,000 loan. Now, a couple things could happen here. If you don't pay back the retirement account, you're going to be hit with some fees and some other, penalties, and it's going to end up costing you more money to have borrowed this money effectively to pay this credit card. Alternatively, if you do pay, some minimum payments here to your retirement account, but you have zero balance on your credit card, you might be tempted to adjust your lifestyle again and just to start overspending again. And then what's going to happen is your credit card is going to go back up, and now you owe this money to your retirement account, and you also have that credit card back at $10,000. So really the only way to look at this is if you take out that loan from the retirement fund, you pay off your credit card, but then in your head, on paper, you realize that this is also debt that you have. So while you did get it at a lower interest rate, at a lower cost, you still have to pay that back before you can do anything else. It's not like now you're debt free because you paid off the credit card. So it's very important that if you are going to be doing that, if you're going to be taking out from a retirement account, let's say, you make sure you treat that as debt and you pay that back so that you're not facing extra penalties or you're not adjusting lifestyle where you have two sets of new debt or anything like that. If you do it, if you approach it that way, then yeah, maybe it's a viable option. But for most of us, it's really not. So I would just leave that retirement account where it is, continue contributing to it. If you really want to focus on paying off debt, you could scale back on the contributions and focus on paying off the debt first. But I would leave that alone forever until you're ready to retire and just focus on the debt separately. Okay, and so the last item on the list for today is not having a plan. Not having a plan is just as detrimental as making all the other mistakes combined. We watch 4 to 5 hours of TV a week. We spend hours and hours on social media apps scrolling up and down to see what's going on. But a lot of us won't take out 2 hours of our time to kind of go over our finances and come up with a plan on a weekly basis, which is a huge mistake. And for so many years, I personally was avoiding this as well because I knew I had student loan debt. I knew I had credit card debt. I knew I wasn't making the money I wanted to make when I was younger. And a lot of these things factored into me just pushing off my finances. And I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where I wanted to be. But really just spending an hour a week even of coming up with a plan, looking over a budget, checking out your accounts, seeing what you have, figuring out your net worth. These kind of things can be very motivating, and they can also just kind of give you a long-term vision of where you want to go. And if you don't have a plan, and this goes with anything, right? If you're taking a vacation and you don't have a plan, you're not going to have a very good vacation. You have to have a plan. You got to have a game plan. So just spend some time, whether it's an hour or two, a week, and just go over your finances and detail them. And again, if you need professional help, there are places you can go to get help doing this. I cover it in a lot of my videos, so you could go back and watch some of the videos, creating a budget, paying off debt, things like this, but you gotta have a plan. It's really vital to your financial success, just as vital as, avoiding all the other mistakes that we talked about in these two videos. You need to have a plan going forward. Make sure you do that. Make sure you spend the time. It's worth it. All right, guys. Well, that's all I had for these two videos about financial missteps to avoid, financial mistakes that you can really avoid if you identify. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications. It really helps the channel out a lot, and your support does mean a lot to me. And I really appreciate everyone who watched this video. We'll see you next time.